Hi again, I'm Emil, a Swedish hacker. In the last video we took a look at the patch and what was implemented and what was not. Today I will show you how to attack this, and let's jump right in. Where are my web browser? It's on this screen. Yes. So let's start here. And this is the official instructions released by Brix, how to identify and repair a compromised Brix site. So let's take a look at this. We don't care what happened. At first, we take a look at this, how to check if your WordPress site has been compromised. And let's just assume that something in here made us believe that our site was compromised. Maybe we found it ourselves, or maybe we found it when doing this. So we are now starting here at clean a compromised site. This assumes that you have recent backups and that you can perform the cleanup locally on your computer to avoid getting compromised again during the cleanup. We also have an exception. If you're unable to do this cleanup on your local installation, you can put this in your htaccess. That's the exception. This is really good advice. You should have this in your htaccess if you are cleaning a live site, but really you should not clean it live. That's my opinion. If you don't know how to clean it locally or how to do that, you should ask a professional. Let's assume that we can clean it locally, and then according to these instructions we don't need this because we're not cleaning it live. This is actually the same protection I have on the vulnerable site, because I want me to be the only one accessing it. This will work. This will keep attackers out, and this is also how you can protect against this attack. So if you just want to know how to protect yourself and you do not want to know how attacks work, you can stop here and just put this in your htaccess on your live site and you are safe. If you want to know how this works, you can continue. So let's start here. This is the steps to restore backup on your local environment, update Brix theme to the latest version, re-perform the steps outlined above, reinstall WordPress core, all themes, plugins, change sensitive credentials and keys. We do all this. Then we continue to step 6, and this is where sites get hacked. Because this is when you migrate your local installation that we have just cleaned. We have done everything this on our local installation, and we are now going to migrate this to our live environment. Let's take a look at this. Fresh install on live server, that's step 1. Install a new WordPress instance on your live server. We're going to do that. We have a fresh install, fresh VPS, fresh WordPress core. Here we're going to install it. Step 2 is transfer your site. That's transfer your local site now to the live environment. So this is your local cleaned site, and we're going to transfer it to our live server. And your site is actually already compromised at this step. So it's not the full compromise, the full attack is not happening here, but we are using a combined attack against the patched version of Brix that started already here. And I will show you how it works. But if we use plugins like this to move our local site to the new live server setup, how does hackers, let's see my notes. Yes, how do you find a site that quick so that you can actually start attacking it in the installation process? The answer to this is that attackers are monitoring a lot of things. They are monitoring IP addresses, and they probably scan the entire internet in like a couple of hours. But if they have already hacked you once, they know your domain. Also, if they have not yet compromised your site, they will still be able to monitor your site like this, because it is happening in the SSL creation. So this is the CT log. Let's take a look at this first. What is a CT log? CT logs are publicly auditable records of certificate issuance by each certificate authority. So CT is certificate transparency, and log monitoring is the process of tracking all publicly issued certificates for organizations, domains, etc. So is this happening for all certificates? Yes, probably, because Apple and Google require certificate authorities to log all SSL certificates. Actually, they are doing the same. They are forcing the certificate authorities to log these and make it publicly available for anyone to read. So the same second as your SSL certificate is working, you're also present in the log. And this is a simple way of how to view the log. I did a search for blueteamer.io here, but this is a search just for blue. So we can really search for anything, and we can also just monitor the log itself to have information about when did your certificate became issued. So if you're installing WordPress on a new VPS, that new VPS needs its certificate for your domain. So when that certificate is created is when the attacker gets information about your new installation. And if I were an attacker that knew that you were one of the compromised site, I would just probably monitoring my already compromised domains for new certificates, so I know exactly the second you're trying to clean it, I know about it. This has actually already been researched. It is called the WordPress installer attack race. It is researched by this guy at least, and this is actually a very funny guy. If you have not yet read this article, you should really read it because it's very funny. He has researched this, and he says that this is happening right now on a big scale, and I have seen this a lot of times when I install WordPress in my environments. I see the attacks happen, and they happen really fast. According to his research, attacks can happen within a minute. But the really funny with this article is what he did. What I did with the attacker's database. If you have not read this, you have to read it. It's really funny. So we are now back here in our environment where we can see the attack. So this is the good guy installing WordPress, and on the left side we have just started the environment. We've started a database, we have started Apache and WordPress. Also we started a PHPMyAdmin, it really doesn't matter. But we're going to attach to this, just because we want to see the log live. So now we have the access log here, so we're going to see what is actually happening. So let's change your password. Yes, I have a bad password here. I have done this a couple of times, so Chrome has saved my password, and they say that hello is not a great password, and I agree. But you see, this is the live access log. If I do this again, I get more hits. at this. What the attacker now does is that they scan the CT logs. Let's take a look at this. They did monitor the CT log and they got information that you are now reinstalling WordPress. So let's take a look at how the installation attack looks like. If we do not set any arguments, we use the vulnerable patch domain as the host. So we're not going to set any arguments. Then we send requests to this path, setup config step 2. And we are sending an evil object that contains our evil database. So this is a database host that is evil, that the attacker is in charge of. And we are sending this with one simple post request to the URL with the evil data. Let's take a look at how that looks like. So this is our last access. Let's now attack the installation. Get back here. We now have one more request. This is a post request to this setup config step 2. And this is really all that is to tell if we are attacked with this attack or not. So if I go back here, I don't see any change. I can continue from here without anything change. I can also reload. It doesn't matter. So I will still end up. I will still end up here at the installation page. So I will not notice if I am not live monitoring the access log, and probably you were not. So let's choose English. Yes, I know. My site, email. This is a better password, but I will not remember it. So let's choose hello, confirm. And let's discourage search engine and install WordPress. Okay, I have a bad password. We're probably going to have a lot of warnings about bad passwords. But WordPress is now installed. And we didn't get any warnings, any errors, no nothing. So let's take a look at what actually happened. We did install. We went through the installation process without any errors, except that it's telling us that we have a weak password. We can log in with our administration username and password, but if we go here again, let's shut this off and let's take a look on the installed WordPress that is in the HTML directory. Let's take a look at the WP config that was created by our installation. This file does now contain this database host evil database.blueteamer. That's not what's supposed to be there. The database that the host has set up for you were supposed to be there. And also let's take a look at the cleaning instructions. Let's search for WP config and let's see here. Change database password, and then they tell us how to change database password. We are going to supposed to change this because the attacker might know it. Yes, that's true, but it will not help against this attack, because if you were exploited with this attack, the actual persistence is here, the database host. The database host will not, of course, be called evil database. That's just because we are going to see that this is the database that is actually used and that the attack worked. It will probably be a long, complicated string with your user ID, username, maybe the server specification. On DigitalOcean, I think the server specification is within the host name. So it's a really long string, and the attacker can just change one of those numbers and have it very, very similar to your original string. They will not be called evil database. It will be called something probably similar to what you already had. So let's take a look. Reset all user passwords. Yes, doesn't really matter. Update security keys in WP config. edit this WP config and change the security keys. And this is how WP config looks like. We have a database host here. We have security keys here. So it doesn't really matter if we change this, because what is persistent in this attack is actually this. So it didn't say anything about that. So this attack will actually persist now. If an attacker did this to you, you can follow these instructions as many times as you like, as long as you do not change the database host or throw away WP config completely. This attack will persist over and over and over and over again. And we do not have remote code execution just yet, not in every setup at least, because we have to let the good guy install everything they need. We have just created or installed WordPress. We need the good guy to log in and install bricks and install their other plugins and create the site, so the attacker waits. So let's cut the video here. Yes, so we are now back inside WordPress. We are the only administrator. If I update this, yes, we are the only administrator. We have created one post. I believe that's the default. We have installed bricks. This is the latest version, the patched version. We have created one page. This is my test page. Let's take a look at it. This is my fresh install. We have a fresh VPS, we have fresh WP core, we have the latest version of bricks, we have no backdoors or any malware from our old installation. We just got attacked during our installation of this site. So from there we start this chapter, if you will. To take a look at the next attack, because we have now waited, so everything is installed and set up, and the good guy has no clue that we have a persistent backdoor that we can utilize. There are no strange users or anything, no strange files, no firewall or no malware scanner or anything like that will ever tell you that you have a persistent backdoor by a hacker or a bad actor, because really the only thing that we changed here was the database host. We were able to attack the installation process before probably you install any of the plugins that can help you with this, so they will not have any clue that this is a malicious database host. So let's see, we did attack the installation. Let's continue now attacking database. Let's take a look, attack database. So we are now the attacker, and we know that the database host is our evil database. We have the credentials to this evil database. We do not need credentials to your good database, because it's not used, because we attacked your installation. So we are creating a unique ID. We are preparing some SQL commands, SQL in Swedish. Also, this is a similar as we did in the first remote code execution video. So we will use the my cursor to execute our SQL user, and we will get the user ID, and we will save it in a variable. We will print it out so we can grab it for later, and we will insert our privileges to our own evil database. So let's try this. Also, we will write them out, print them out. Attack database. So we attacked database with this user ID, and we got a new user ID of 2. So let's take a look at what actually happened and if you recognize any of these patterns. So this is my site. Let's take a look at user. What happened here? We just got a new WP update user with a strange ID. This is an administrator on our good site. Just because the attacker sent this attack to their own malicious evil database. So we got the evil user on our site. With this, we can now continue the attack. Let's take a look at the attack cookies. We have some setup here that is setting up the host. The default username is Emil and the default password is hello. We are obviously not going to use this because we are going to use the malicious user that we just inserted. We are going to have contacts at the login page and at the WP admin page. So we are printing out what credentials we are using when we perform the attack. And we have some helpers. We have save cookie helpers and load cookie helpers from file. And the actual attack is performed with a session request. And we are sending headers to the good site. That is a test cookie. It's just a cookie check. I think you can put anything here. And we are sending some data, and we are doing a post request first to the login contact. It's this, and then I believe we are sending a get request to the admin area to get all the cookies, because it's different cookies on the front end and on the back end, or in the admin area. So we need to steal both, and we save the cookies to file. So there will be a file on our bad file system that is called _cookies. Let's take a look. Yes, we have this file already, but we can remove it like this. We don't have it anymore. So now attack cookies. The first parameter was the host, I think. Patch. And then there is our malicious user. So we will reuse this ID like this, and we will have WP update this ID, and we will have hello as our password. I don't think we need to write it in. I'll just check that I used normal dash and not underscore. I don't remember. Yes, I used normal dash. So let's attack the cookies, and we got an answer. Let's see what happens. We now have a cookie file. Let's take a closer look at the cookie file. And it seems like update, yes, it seems like it's the right user and it's the right domain. So we keep this, and let's take a look at the attack bricks, because now it doesn't really matter how secure your setup is, because if you have like a read-only file system, the attacker cannot put any code there. If you deny administrator access to upload PHP, in example, you might even deny administrators to install plugins and themes, we still have remote code execution. So let's just attack bricks again. This is now a little bit updated, and there is requirement that admin can execute code. Yes. Also that we have pretty permalinks. It's just for this script. It's not an actual requirement, but I hard-coded the WP JSON path. If this were not turned on, we had to attack the index.php, I believe. So we have these default arguments. That is our host, and this is our evil command just to make sure if remote code execution is working. We have the cookie helpers, we have save cookies, we have load cookies. We also have get nonce helpers. We need a little bit different approach when getting the nonce in this attack. Also we have some different evil objects that is all included our evil command, and then we perform the requests, and I believe this is the one that is actually executing the code. This was just for testing. So let's try this. Attack bricks. Let's use no arguments first time and see what happens. Yes, we got the administrative nonce this time instead of the public nonce that was used in the last attack, and we still have remote code execution on this site. And now to perform the remote code execution we had to insert this malicious user because we didn't know the credentials of this user, so we inserted this, and I believe a lot of guys will recognize something like this in your users, and this is the reason. And now we can really put anything here. We can do HTTPS. Need this. Was it PHP now? Like this. Yes. Let's take a look if it is our DB host. This should be our malicious host. Yes. So we now successfully have remote code execution on the patched version of Bricks. Also, we have a persistent backdoor that will live through all of these cleaning instructions as long as you update your WP config and follow these instructions instead of just completely get rid of it and do not copy anything from your old WP config. Otherwise this attack will persist over and over and over again. So how do you protect yourself against this? Well, at this stage there is a fresh install on a live server. Before anything is a live server, you really need to implement this step. So if you do not get an error message from WordPress when installing that your htaccess is already present and that WordPress couldn't write to it, you are probably vulnerable, because you need to set this up before any of the going live or even downloading any WordPress files, because as soon as you are live with WordPress files on your file system, you are vulnerable to this attack. And it can be used for a lot of things, not just attacking bricks. But if I have already attacked you in the past, and I monitor the CT logs to see when you are cleaning, then it is very convenient to just attack you again with this method and just reuse my old payload. So my old payload will work exactly as it did in the last attack, so I will just reuse it, and you will have similar symptoms. So even though it is not completely Bricks, the patched version of Bricks fault, so this is a way that you could be hacked on a fresh install in a fresh environment without having to copy any malicious files from your old installation. So this is how I would attack you if I were to do it. It's not 100% sure this is what happened to everybody, but I believe this is a pretty reliable way to attack sites over and over again, and especially when the instructions are missing some crucial information to protect against this. So this is well, hackers Christmas, if you will. Okay, so we are now back at the good site. Oops, did I do that? At the good site. To show you the last attack, because this was one way of doing it. I believe I can bring in this picture again. I think I can do it like this. Yes, so what we have done so far is sending this malicious request this way. We attached some malicious cookies to it that we were able to steal because we compromised your installation process. That means that with these malicious cookies sent with the request, Bricks will think this is a legit request and it will perform the remote code execution for us. So now let's take a look at this, where the attacker knows the evil database host. We will perform the attack against the database and we will have Bricks render it for us. So if we go here, this is the page we are attacking, and let's take a look at how that works. So we are here. Let's take a look at the SQL injection test. We are basically just sending malicious information to the WP post meta table with this value, and this is the proof that we still have remote code execution even from the other way around. So if the page will say hello world modified, also modify or more, yes, more will be on its own line here. So let's just try this and see what happens. We have the evil host. It is was it evil database? We have the evil user, it's WordPress. We have the evil password, it's is it WP database password 1. We have the port for the evil database, and I believe we do it like this. The database, it's called WordPress, and we just send the SQL injection to it. Let's go back here before we send the command and update. This is how the page looks like now. Let's send this it's not MySQL. Let's take a look now. It executes our code perfectly well and bypassing every check. We didn't need this. Let's take a look at this again. This attack didn't need any credentials for WordPress. So we just sent a legit request saying that now we want to look at this page, and from what we inserted into the database, this code is executed. So this is another way of attacking sites that we have a persistent backdoor in. And this is a persistent backdoor, as I said, that will not show up on any scanner. Everything will always come back green and as expected, and you will still get infected. So I hope you have a little bit better understanding of how these attacks work. Yeah, and as a last thing, I want to remind you to go back to this article. If you're interested, you can read this and you can see what he found out, and you can see what he did with the attacker, because you can actually attack him back when the attacker has a malicious database host on your system. So it's very funny. Go and read it. Have a nice day. Happy hacking.